Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriya. Nashtaprahi Shubhadretu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhagavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 1, The Spiritual Masters, Text 47. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is further saying, Shiksha Guru ke tajani Krishnera Swarupa, Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Ei Dui Rupa. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as a super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. So Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami states that the instructing spiritual master is a bona fide representative of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna himself teaches us as the instructing spiritual master from within and without. From within, he teaches as Paramatma, our constant companion. And from without, he teaches from the Bhagavad Gita as an instructing spiritual master. So there are two kinds of instructing spiritual master. One is the liberated person, fully absorbed in meditation, in devotional service. And the other is he who invokes the disciples, the spiritual consciousness, by means of relevant instructions. So there could be two Shiksha Gurus. One who is liberated person, fully absorbed in meditation and devotional service, and the other who invokes the disciples' spiritual consciousness by means of relevant instructions. Thus, the instructions in the science of devotion are differentiated in terms of the objective and subjective ways of understanding. The Acharya, in the true sense of the term, who is authorized to deliver Krishna, enriches the disciple with full spiritual knowledge and thus awakens him to the activities of devotional service. So that is a real Acharya who awakens the disciple to the activities of devotional service, nothing else but devotional service. When by learning from the self-realized spiritual master, one actually engages himself in the service of Lord Vishnu, functional devotional service begins. So, one is Sambandha Gyan and now the Abhideya. The procedures of this devotional service are known as Abhideya or actions one is duty-bound to perform. Our only shelter is the Supreme Lord, and one who teaches how to approach Krishna is a functioning form of the personality of Godhead. So Guru has a special, very special position because he teaches us how to approach Krishna. There is no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual master. Of course, here Prabhupada, this is what he's writing, that anybody who gives instruction is an instructing spiritual master. Could be, I mean, as he said earlier, there's one initiating spiritual master, but there could be many instructing masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offense in the discharge of devotional service. Srila Sanatana Goswami is the ideal spiritual master, for he delivers one the shelter of the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. Even though one may be unable to travel on the field of Vrindavan due to forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can get an adequate opportunity to stay in Vrindavan and derive all spiritual benefits by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami. Shri Govindji acts exactly like the Shiksha Guru, instructing spiritual master by teaching Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita. He is the original preceptor, for he gives us instructions and an opportunity to serve him. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Sri Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govindadev Vigraha. Both of these deities are worshipped at Vrindavan. Srila Gopinath is the ultimate attraction in spiritual realization. So, Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayoja. But this is very amazing statement Prabhupada is making. The initiating spiritual master is personal manifestation of Sri Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govindadev Vigraha. And instructing Shiksha Gurus could be many, like Prabhupada is our most prominent Shiksha Guru. And then we study so many other acharyas, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami. They all are our Shiksha Gurus. Here Prabhupada does right. Both of these deities are worshipped at Vrindavan, but actually now they are in Jaipur. So originally they were in Vrindavan. Navopayanti apachitam kavayastavesha brahmayushapi kritam riddha muda smaranta yuvantar bahistanum bhritam ashubham vidhunvan acharya chaitya vapusha swagatim yanakti. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as a super soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Sri Uddhava after he heard from Sri Krishna all necessary instructions about yoga. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, although he wrote everything in Bengali, but sometimes he adds some shlokas from Bhagavatam or other scriptures also. Like Tesham Satatyuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mahupayanti Te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. This verse of the Bhagavad Gita 10:10 clearly states how Govinda Dev instructs his bona fide devotee. The Lord declares that by enlightenment in theistic knowledge, he awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. By enlightenment in theistic knowledge, he awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. So the Lord gives that Prabhupada Govind Devji because he is a Shiksha Guru in the form of Shiksha Guru. This awakening of divine consciousness enthralls a devotee who thus relishes his eternal transcendental mellow. Such an awakening is awarded only to those convinced by devotional service about the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead. They know that the supreme truth, the all-spiritual and all-powerful person, is one without a second and has fully transcendental senses. He is the fountainhead of all emanation. Such pure devotee, always merged in knowledge of Krishna and absorbed in Krishna consciousness, exchange thoughts and realizations as great scientists exchange their views and discuss the results of their research in scientific academies. Such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who therefore favors such devotees with all enlightenment. So this is what even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Matchitta Matgat Prana Bodhyanda Parasparam Kathyantash Nityam Cha Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So my devotees, after they get the enlightenment, they only talk about me. And in this way, they are Bodhyanta parasparam. Between them, there's an exchange of glories of me. And they are tushyanti cha ramanti. They are satisfied and they are always happy. And this gives pleasure to the Lord. Why? Because it's not that the Lord, just like in material world, people like to have lots of followers, like political leaders, movie personalities. They like to have lots of followers, and they want the followers to always talk about them nicely. It depends on the followers. But when we talk about political leader or movie star or sports stars, we don't get any benefit. Maybe if they find out that these guys are talking about me very nicely, very favorably, maybe he'll give some higher position or he gives some monetary uh, benefit. But that's not the case with Krishna. Actually, it's in Krishna that people should talk about me, my glories, chant my name. We get it because it's in Krishna, but we get the perverted form of it. Originally, it's in Krishna. Why? Because Krishna knows if we talk about him, we will get purified. And once we get purified, we get eligible, qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. This gives pleasure to the Lord. He's not saying that you should talk about me for any of his benefit. It's going to benefit us by bringing Krishna to the center of our topics of discussion. And there is no lack of subject matter to talk about when it comes to Krishna. He is unlimited. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. His Katha is also Ananta. Every second, there are newer and newer pastimes being performed in Golok Vrindavan. Every second of Golok Vrindavan, that means, I don't know how many yugas will pass over here in a second of Golok Vrindavan. So there are so many, like Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj used to say, in Calcutta, there are so many newspapers they're publishing every day. And it's the same news. It's not like they're publishing different news, same news. But Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, we have so much of material about spiritual that we can publish a newspaper every second. Yeah. But the problem is there are no readers. Nobody wants to read that. So not just Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wonderful pastimes are going on eternally in Golok Vrindavan. We can say, oh, this is Mayapur, but Mayapur and Vrindavan, they are non-different. Navadvip and Vrindavan, they're non-different. And his pastimes are going on, Krishna's pastimes are going on, Lord Ram's pastimes are going on. It just, first of all, we don't have those kind of eyes to see those pastimes. Or even we don't have the inclination to go to all these sadhus and to hear from them. And that's where the problem is. And this is what Krishna says, such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who therefore favors such devotees with all enlightenment. So this is what he wants. And we waste our time. And that's what Goswami says, Vacho vegam manasa krota vegam. Control, we have to control ourselves. Yatha Brahmane Bhagavan Swayam Upadeshyan Anu Bhavitavan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan taught Brahma and made him self-realized. The English maxim that God helps those who help themselves is also applicable in the transcendental realm. God helps those who help themselves. So it's not like when we say, oh, Bhagwan ki kripa hogi to mandir jaunga, Bhagwan ki kripa hogi to chanting karunga. Nahin. Kripa means kar and pa. So we do, and then he gives us mercy. So we are eligible for those. So God helps those who help themselves, not just anybody and everybody is going to help. There are many instances in the revealed scriptures of the personality of Godhead acting as a spiritual master from within. The personality of Godhead was a spiritual master who instructed Brahma, the original living being, in the cosmic creation. When Brahma was first created, he could not apply his creative energy to arrange the cosmic situation. At first, there was only sound vibrating the word tapa, which indicates the acceptance of hardships for spiritual realization. So tapasya has to be there for spiritual realization. We're not just going to sit on our sofa and watching TV and like here drinking beer, smoking cigarette and thinking I'm going to get self-realized. Not going to have tapasya. What is tapasya? Refraining from sensual enjoyment. One should voluntarily accept all sorts of difficulties for spiritual realization. So refraining from sensual enjoyment, one should voluntarily accept all sorts of difficulties for spiritual realization. That is tapasya. We all do tapasya every day. Going to work, we don't want to go to work, but this is tapasya. To cook, get up early in the morning to cook. For ladies, tapasya. So many things, but that's not for spiritual realization. The real tapasya is for spiritual realization. So same activities, cooking has to be done, getting up early in the morning to cook for the family. So before the family is fed, the Lord of the house should be fed, and then it becomes spiritual. So simple. We have to talk, chant the holy names. So instead of just talking nonsense, let's chant the holy name. We have to read scriptures. We want to see something, see Krishna movie, some other things related to Krishna. Then it becomes tapasya. Actually, then after a while, it just gives us so much pleasure. There is no tapasya in that. There is no austerity. An enjoyer of the senses can never realize God, godliness, or the science of theistic knowledge. Thus, when Brahma, initiated by Shri Krishna by the sound vibration tapa, engaged himself in the acts of austerity, by the pleasure of Vishnu, he was able to visualize the transcendental world, Sri Vaikuntha, through transcendental realization. So by the pleasure of Vishnu, or by the mercy of Vishnu, because he was pleased by the tapasya of Brahmaji. Modern science can communicate using material discoveries such as radio, television, and computers. But the science invoked by the austerities of Sri Brahma, the original father of mankind, was still more subtle. Because then he got to see the transcendental world, Sri Vaikuntha. In time, material scientists may also know how we can communicate with the Vaikuntha world. May know, but not sure. Lord Brahma inquired about the potency of the Supreme Lord, and the personality of God had answered his inquiry in the following 6 consecutive statements. These instructions, which are reproduced from Srimad Bhagavatam 29:31-36, were imparted by the personality of Godhead, acting as a supreme spiritual master. So these instructions, 2931 to 36, I think 4 verses are also called uh, the Sutram of Bhagavatam, means the essence of Bhagavatam is given. Paribhashya Sutra. Not Paribhashya, this is not Paribhashya. Essence is given. Okay. Jnanam param guhyam me yad vigyan samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihan gatitam maya. Please hear attentively what I shall speak to you. For transcendental knowledge about me is not only scientific, but also full of mysteries. So transcendental knowledge about Krishna is not only scientific. Means scientific is what? Science means there has to be some kind of theory and practical realization or practical things to prove it, practical tests to prove it. Then it is scientific. It's not just blind faith. And this is what Krishna says, not only scientific, but also full of mysteries. Transcendental knowledge of Shri Krishna is deeper than the impersonal knowledge of Brahman, for it includes knowledge of not only his form and personality, but also everything else related to him. There is nothing in existence not related to Shri Krishna. In a sense, there is nothing but Shri Krishna, and yet nothing is Shri Krishna save and except his primeval personality. So in a sense, there is nothing but Krishna in the whole existence because it's all Krishna's energy. Energy and energetic are non-different. But he himself, person, Shri Krishna, Shyam Sundar Krishna, is not in everything. This knowledge constitutes a complete transcendental science, and Vishnu wanted to give Brahmaji full knowledge about that science. The mystery of this knowledge culminates in personal attachment to the Lord, with the resulting effect of detachment from anything non-Krishna. Actually, there is nothing non-Krishna, but how we perceive it. If we try to use it in our pleasure, for our pleasure, it is Maya, or where Krishna is not. There are 9 alternative transcendental means of attaining this stage, the stage of perfect knowledge and personal attachment with Krishna. And these stages are, these transcendental means are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarana, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping, praying, assisting, fraternizing with the Lord, and sacrificing everything for him. These are different parts of the same devotional service, which is full of transcendental mystery. The Lord said to Brahma that since he was pleased with him, by his grace, the mystery was being revealed. So full of transcendental mystery. So it is mysterious because it will not be revealed till the Lord is pleased. It's not like a chemistry lab, we just add 2 chemicals, we get the 3rd chemical. There is no mercy part involved. Of course, mercy part is still involved. That Krishna allows us to combine those chemicals, to do the chemical reaction. He allows, he lets us move our hands, he lets us use our intelligence to mix those chemicals. But we don't see that. That is still okay. But here the mysterious part is Krishna he let Brahmaji see the spiritual world by his mercy. Yavan aham yatha bhavo yadrupa guna karma ka tatheva tattva vijnanam astu te mad anugrihat. By my causeless mercy, anugrihat, be enlightened in truth about my personality, manifestations, qualities, and pastimes. So the transcendental personal forms of the Lord are a mystery, and the symptoms of these forms, which are absolutely different from anything made of mundane elements, are also mysterious. Symptoms of these forms, which are absolutely different from anything made of mundane elements, are also mysterious. The innumerable forms of the Lord, such as Shyam Sundar, Narayan, Ram, and Gaur Sundar, the colors of these forms, white, red, yellow, cloud-like Shyama, and others, or for Ram, it's green. His qualities as a responsive personality of Godhead to pure devotees, and as impersonal Brahman to dry speculators, his uncommon activities like lifting Govardhan Hill, marrying more than 16,000 queens at work, and entering the Rasa dance with the damsels of Raja, expanding himself in as many forms as there were damsels in the dance, in the Ras Lila. These and innumerable other uncommon acts and attributes are all mysteries, one aspect of which is presented in the scientific knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, which is read and adored all over the world by all classes of scholars with as many interpretations as their empiric philosophers. It's a mystery, it's mystery. And this mysterious science and the details are revealed only to devotees, not to everybody. The truth of these mysteries was revealed to Brahma by the descending process without the help of the ascending. So descending means knowledge coming down from Krishna. Ascending means we try to gather knowledge on our own. The Lord's mercy descends to a devotee like Brahma, and through Brahma to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, from Vyasadev to Shukdev, and so on in the bona fide chain of disciplic succession. We cannot discover the mysteries of the Lord by our mundane endeavors. They are only revealed by His grace to the proper devotees. Clearly, Prabhupada said. And they are only revealed to the extent of our surrender. Of course, it's on the mercy of the Lord. But some idea to get is, to the extent of our surrender, He reveals Himself. These mysteries are gradually disclosed to the various grades of devotees in proportion to the gradual development of their service attitude. Gradual development of their service attitude. In other words, impersonalists who depend upon the strength of the poor fund of knowledge and morbid speculative habits, without submission and service in the forms of hearing, chanting, and other mentioned above, cannot penetrate to the mysterious region of transcendence, where the supreme truth is a transcendental person, free from all tinges of the material elements. Discovering the mystery of the Lord eliminates the impersonal feature realized by common spiritualists who are merely trying to enter the spiritual region from the mundane platform. So they cannot understand anything. They cannot penetrate to the mysterious region of transcendence, because they're all these impersonalists, Nirakarva, they're trying to progress on their own. Devotees perform their devotion service, and whatever mercy, through mercy of Krishna, whatever realizations they get, they're happy. So for our devotion service, reading is also part of devotion service. This is Shravanam. So hopefully Krishna gets pleased nicely. Hopefully Prabhupada is pleased by our effort, and they give the realizations so that we can make further and further progress. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody with any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you said original deities Madan Mohan and Gopinath is in Jaipur or in Vrindavan?
They were in Vrindavan, but because of these attacks by Muslims, they were moved by the pujaris. So Govindaji and Gopinathji, they went to Jaipur, but Madan Mohanji is in Karoli. It's on the way from Mathura to Jaipur, near Bharatpur.
Okay, so the Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan is not the original, if I'm not. Okay.
No, that is the original temple, but the deities are not original.
Acha, okay.
These Muslim rulers, especially Aurangzeb, he did the most damage. They desecrated the temple. Means the pujaris had already moved the murti, the vigra. So they can kill a cow in the temple and desecrate the temple. Yeah. It's hard to understand because nothing can happen in Vrindavan without the mercy of the Lord, without the sanctioning of the Lord. Why he sanctioned something like this? Hard to understand. In fact, Madan Mohanji temple, it was such a big temple, tall temple. And it is said they used to put lamp on the top of the shikhar, and that lamp could be visible from miles and miles away. It was such a tall place. And he came, and same thing about Govindji temple in Vrindavan. And these guys came, they broke so many stories of the temple from top.
Sad.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Today is Prithu Maharaj's birthday. So we will seek your blessings
Hare
and
Krishna.
everyone's blessing.
Happy birthday to Ritu Maharaj.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Chalo.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai